Hello students, welcome again. This is Sarawat, your social science teacher. Student, in your previous video, we were reading our history, second chapter, gathering to growing food. And today we will take the second part of this chapter and we will learn some important points also. As you know about the earliest people were not so modern, and they used to live in caves and in forest, and their lifestyle were very different from today's world. They were living in caves and eating raw meats because they don't know that how to cook, but they have to eat food raw. Okay, and they used to make some tools and some instrument for the hunting and for making their houses. Okay, and these tools were made by the stones. Why they choose stones for and bones to making these tools? Because stones and bones were very strong at that time, and any metal were not invented. Okay, so metal was not invented, that's why they were making these instrument for the purpose. And slowly they started making small villages. They know that how to make villages, how to cook food, and they can make small instrument by the woods also, and they can produce the fire also. Okay, now their works became some important, and because of their instrument, these instruments were made by the stone and bones. That's why this time is called Paleolithical age. Okay, and by two stones, okay, by the hitting two stones, they know that how to burn fire, and fire also make life easy to them. But students, when people started making small villages, it was difficult for them to choosing a place. So how they choose a place to live? How they think that this is a better place for their house making and for living? So student, if you will look at the map 2 below here, this is the map 2. This map is also in your book. All the places marked with red triangles are cities from which archaeologists have found evidence of hunters and gatherers. Okay, these places that are marked in red color, these are the places where hunters and gatherers were found, like this Bhimbetka and this Hansgi and this the Kurnul caves. These were the some place where hunters and gatherers were living. So here students, they lived in many more places instead of these places. Only some are shown on the map. Many sites were located near source of water such as rivers and lakes. Means people prefer to live nearby the lakes. And as the stone tools were important, people tried to find place where good quality stone was easily available. Okay, so in Bhimbetka and in some other places like Bhimbetka in present day in Madhya Pradesh. This is an old site with cave and rock shelter, and people choose this natural cave because they provide shelter from the rain and heat and wind. Okay, and there was a great source of rocks also. So Bhimbetka, why they choose Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh? Because there was a cave, and this cave provide them a natural shelter, and they protect them from heat and wind, and these rocks shelters are close to the Narmada Valley. So can you think of why people choose to live here? Because water were easily available there. Acha, because they were living in cave, that's why there were some other paintings were found that are called rock painting. And what they tell us, a painting from a rock shelter. Here you can see that describe the painting. Many of these caves in which the early people lived have painting on the walls. Some of the best examples are from Madhya Pradesh and southern Uttar Pradesh, wild animal drawn with great accuracy and skills. So this is the picture of Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh. Sites are places where the remains of things, tools, pots, buildings, etc. were found, and these were made, used, and left behind by people. These may be found on the surface of the earth, buried under the earth, or sometimes even underwater. You will learn more about different sites in later chapter. So find out about. After that, when they find a place to live, means they found the caves and some other caves like where they can live. One more things for them was that they have to find fire, and they have to learn that how to make fire and how to burn it, how to burn something and how to cook food, because they were eating raw food at that time. If you will find the Kurnool cave in map 2, here you can see Kurnool cave. Kurnool cave in map 2. So student, in Kurnool cave, they suggested that people were familiar with the use of fire because some ash have been found here. Fire could have been used for many things, as a source of light, to roast meat, and to scare away animals. What do we use fire for today? We are also using fire for today for cooking foods and for the other purpose, like for melting metals and other lots of purpose we are using fire. So names and dates. Archaeologist has given a lengthy name to the time that we are studying. How they are giving the name to these periods? Like archaeologists have given lengthy name, like the earliest period, that is known as the Paleolithic. This comes from two Greek words, that is paleo, and meaning means old, and lithos, that meaning is stones, because in earliest time people were only using stones for the as the equipment, and the name points out the importance of find of stone tools, because at this time archaeologists found stone tools. That's why they name that period as the Paleolithic period, extend from 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. This long stretch of time is divided into lower, middle, and upper Paleolithic. This long span of time covers 99% of human history. The period when we find environmental changes beginning about 12,000 years ago till 10,000 years ago is called Mesolithic, means middle stone. Stone tools found during this period are generally tiny and are called microlith, क्योंकि वो बहुत छोटे होते थे, that's why they are called microliths. Microliths were probably stuck on the handles of bone or wood to make tools such as saw and sickles. Means they just fix uh, some like some small stone in a stick in a wood, then it become a tool for them. And at the same time older varieties of tool continue to be in use. So microlith were probably stuck on a handle or bone or wood to make tools such as saw and sickles. Then how they make saw and sickle? By attaching these small stones with a wood. The next stage from about 10,000 years ago is known as the Neolithic. Next stage was Neolithic stage. And what do you think of term Neolithic means? We have also mentioned the name of some places. You will find the name of many more places in later chapter. Very often we use present day names of place where people live in past because we do not know what they call them. So student, Paleolithical age means stone age also. So in this age people only do hunting and gathering, and small bands of 20 to 30 humans were living together, and they were nomadic, moving from one place to other place. So the time of Paleolithical or Stone Age was 400,000 to 10,000 BC, and characteristic was people used the rough rugged stone for tools and weapon, and absolute dependence on nature, also called complete environmental parasitism, by gathering food and hunting animals. Okay, so at that times they were only completely dependent on nature and environment. Okay, so that's why this was the uh, characteristic of Paleolithic age. At that time human or that time at that time only human discovered fire from stone for cooking, warmth and protection from the animals, and high degree of spirituality and connection of nature by practicing animism and polytheism, extremely nomadic way of life, moving from place to place or hunt, and belief in the afterlife, buri and dead with importance items. Because lots of evidence were founded at that time that some others the when the bodies were found, the biodegradable bodies were found there, the lots of other things were also buried with them. That's mean that these were the evidence of that people were believed in afterlife. Next topic is a changing environment. Around 12,000 years ago, there were major change in the climate of the world, and with a shift of relatively warm condition in many areas, this led to a development of grassland, and this is turn led to an increase in the number of deers and antelope, goat, sheep, and cattle. Animals that survived on grass, those who hunted these animals not now followed them and learning about their food habits and their breeding season. It is likely that this helped people to start thinking about herding and rearing these animals themselves. Fishing also became important. And this is the beginning of the farming and herding also. So now next topic is the beginning of farming and hunting. This was also a time when several grains bearing grasses, including wheat, barley, and rice, grew naturally in different parts of the subcontinent. Men, women, and children probably collected these grains as food and learned where they grew. And when they ripened, this may have led them to think about growing plant on their own, and in this way, people became farmers. People could also attract and then tame animals to leaving food for them near their shelter. And the first animal to be tamed was the wild ancestor of the dog. Later, people encouraged animals that were relatively gentle to come near to camp where they lived. These animals, such as sheep, goat, cattle, and also the pig, lived in herd. And some most of them ate grasses. Often, people protected these animals from attack by other wild animals. This is how they became herders. And can you think of any reason why the dog was perhaps the first first animal to be tamed? Because dog used to live nearby the humans, and that's why and they also need a protection from other wild animal, and the dog gives them signal when other dangerous animals came nearby their camp. So they used to keep dogs with them. That's why from at that time, from the past, dogs were the a real friend of the humans. Next topic, here you can see domestication. In the name given to the process in which people grow plants and look after animals, very often plants and animals that were tended by people become different from wild plants and animals. This is because people select plant and animal for domestication. For example, they selected those plants and animals that are not prone to disease, and they also select plants that yield large size grain and have strong stalks capable of bearing the weight of the rib grain. Seeds from selected plants are preserved and shown to ensure that new plants will have the same qualities. Amongst animals, those that are relatively gentle are selected. Means those animals which who are harmful animals were not selected by them. They only select some uh, uh, very gentle animals and are selected for the breeding. As a result, gradually domesticated animal and plants become different from wild animal and plant. For example, the tooth and horns of wild animals are usually much larger than those of the domestical animals. Here you can see in the figure also. There's a tooth of domestic animal and the wild animal of same breed, but the size of their tooth and their bone are different. So if you will look at these two set of teeth, which do you think belong to a wild pig and which do to a domesticated one? You can also say, think that the first one, which is smaller, is the domestic animal's teeth, and the larger one is a wild animal. Look, And now domestication was a gradual process and that took place in many parts of the world. It began about 12,000 years ago. Virtually all the plant and animal produce that we use as food today is a result of domestication. Some of the earliest plants to be domesticated were wheat and barley. The earliest domesticated animal include sheep and goat. Okay, now you can name those animals which were domesticated in earliest time, that were sheep, cow, and goat, and dogs. Okay, so now slowly people started a new way of life, and if you plant a seed you will notice that it takes some time to grow. This may be for several days, weeks, months, and in some cases years. When people began growing plants, it meant that they had to stay in the same place for a long time, looking after the plant, watering, weeding, driving away animals with birds till the grain ripened, and then the grain had to be used carefully. Okay, and there's a long process for the farming. So as grain had to be stored for both food and seed, people had to think of way of storing it, and in many areas they began making large clay pots, woe basket, or dug pits into ground. Do you think hunter gatherers would have made and used pots? Yes, exactly. They no, hunter and gatherers cannot use pots because uh, they only depended on the nature for their food. They were not doing any kind of farming, any kind of other things. They were not domesticating the animals. That's why they were not. They were not making any pots or basket for the for gathering the foods. Now, storing animals. Animals multiply naturally, besides, if they were looked after carefully. They provide milk, which is an important source of food and meat. Whenever required, in other words, animals that are reared can be used as a store of food. Apart from food, what are the other things that could have been obtained from animals? What are animals used for today? Now in today we also get lots of things from the animals, like their skin, like their milk, like their butter, and other things. They gives us meat, eggs. So animals are very useful for today also. And finding out about the first farmers and herders. Turn to map 2. You will notice a number of blue square. Okay, in map 2, if we will move to map 2, you will find there are also some blue square where people started farming first. Okay, these are the blue points. Okay, that is Burjahom and the Daujali and the Chirand and the Koldiva. Okay, in Maghara, these are some places. Okay, the Hulur and Payampalli, these are the some places. So here you have noticed a number of blue square, and each marks a site from where archaeologists have found evidence of early farmers and herders. These are found all over the subcontinent, and some of the most important ones are in the northwest, is in present-day Kashmir, and in East and South India, to find out whether these sites were settlements of farmers and herders. Scientists study evidence of plants and animals' bones. One of the most exciting finds includes remains of burnt grain, and these may have been burnt accidentally or on purpose. Scientists can identify these grains, and so we know that a number of crops were grown in different part of the subcontinent, and they can also identify the bone of different animals also. Now, how men started moving toward a settled life. Archaeologists have found traces of hunts and houses at some sites. For instance, of Burzahom and present day in Kashmir, and people built pit houses which were dug into the ground with slabs leading into them, and these may have provided shelter in cold weather. Archaeologists have also found cooking heads both inside the outside the huts, which suggests that depending on the weather, people could cook food either indoor and outdoor. Okay, so you can also draw a pit house. Stone tools have been found from many sites as well. Many of these are different from the earlier pathological tools, and that if that is why they are called Neolithic. These include tools and that were polished to give a fine cutting edge, and mortars and pestles used for grinding grains, and other plants produce mortars and pestles are used for grinding grains even today. So several thousand years later, at the same time, tools of the Paleolithic types continue to be made and used. And remember, some tools were also made of bones. Okay, so at that time, people were using tools, means for the hunting and for the other purpose, and still we are also using some tools by made by stones like silbatta and other things.